Imagine walking into your garage one day with nothing but an old desk, a computer, and a crazy idea that almost everyone tells you will fail. Now imagine betting your entire future on that idea, quitting a secure Wall Street job, leaving behind millions in guaranteed salary, and risking everything you have just to sell books on the internet. Sounds ridiculous, right? But that's exactly what Jeff Bezos did. And that one ridiculous idea didn't just make him rich. It made him one of the most powerful entrepreneurs in history. The founder of Amazon, a company that started with a single online bookstore, is now worth over $160 billion and has transformed the way the entire world shops, reads, and even works. But the story of Jeff Bezos is not about luck. It's about vision. It's about risk. And it's about an obsession so strong that failure simply wasn't an option. Jeffrey Preston Bezos was born in 1964 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. His mother, Jacqueline, was a teenager when he was born. Raising a child at that age was not easy, but she fought hard to give Jeff the best she could. Later, she married Miguel Bezos, a Cuban immigrant who fled to the U.S. alone at the age of 16 with almost nothing in his pocket. Miguel adopted Jeff, gave him his last name, and raised him as his own. From a young age, Jeff stood out. While other kids were watching cartoons or riding bikes, Jeff was building. He once turned his room into a lab, setting up electrical contraptions and experiments that sometimes drove his parents crazy. By high school, he had invented homemade alarms to keep his siblings out of his room. It was clear Jeff wasn't just curious, he was obsessed with figuring out how things worked. His love for science and technology grew stronger with age. By the time he graduated from Princeton University, Jeff had degrees in both computer science and electrical engineering, a powerful combination that opened doors to some of the most prestigious jobs in America. And it worked. After college, Bezos landed on Wall Street, working for a hedge fund called D. Shaw. His sharp analytical mind and insane work ethic quickly made him stand out. By the time he was just 30 years old, Bezos was making more money than most people could dream of. He had security. He had status. He had the kind of career path that guaranteed him millions in the future. But here's the thing, Jeff wasn't satisfied. Deep inside, he knew he didn't want to spend his life making rich people richer. He wanted to build something of his own, something that could change the future. One day, while researching business trends, Bezos stumbled upon a statistic that would change his life forever. The internet, at that time still a small network compared to today, was growing at an unbelievable rate, over 2,300% per year. That single number hit him like lightning. He realized the internet wasn't just a new technology, it was a revolution waiting to happen. Someone was going to build massive businesses on it. The only question was who. Jeff couldn't shake the thought. He started making lists of potential products that could be sold online. Music, electronics, clothing. But one category stood out, books. Why? Because there were millions of books in print, far more than any physical bookstore could ever hold. Selling them online wasn't just an idea. It was an opportunity to completely reinvent the book industry. Now Bezos was standing at a crossroads. On one side, he had a safe Wall Street job, where he would continue making millions and live comfortably forever. On the other side, he had a crazy idea full of risk with no guarantee of success. It was the biggest decision of his life, and Jeff chose risk. In 1994, he walked away from his job, packed everything into his car with his wife Mackenzie, and drove across the country to Seattle. On the way, he was scribbling notes, sketching out what his new company might look like. That company would soon be called Amazon, named after the largest river in the world, because Jeff wanted it to reflect his vision of building the largest online bookstore in the world. But let's be clear, this wasn't some glamorous startup story. Their office was literally a garage. His desk, a wooden door placed across two metal frames. In those early days, Jeff himself was packing books, taping boxes, and driving them to the post office. He and his small team worked day and night, fueled only by pizza, caffeine, and an unshakable belief that the internet was the future. But here's the truth. Almost no one believed in him. Investors laughed him out of rooms. Critics said people would never buy books online. Friends told him he was crazy for leaving Wall Street. Even his parents didn't fully understand what he was doing. But they still invested their life savings into his dream. And then, orders started coming in. Slowly at first, then faster. Within just 2 months of launching, Amazon was selling books in every single U.S. state and in over 40 countries worldwide. The garage business was becoming real. But success didn't mean the struggles were over. Not even close. The dot-com boom of the late 90s created hundreds of internet startups. Everyone was chasing the gold rush, and when the crash hit in 2000, most of those companies disappeared overnight. Investors turned against Amazon, predicting its death. The press called Jeff Bozo. The company was losing money every single quarter, and Wall Street was convinced it wouldn't survive. But Bezos refused to quit. Instead of chasing short-term profits, he doubled down on long-term growth. He reinvested every dollar back into the business and expanding Amazon's catalog beyond books into music, electronics, and eventually everything under the sun. He built warehouses across the country and improved logistics so that orders reached customers faster than ever. His guiding philosophy was simple but powerful. It's always day one. In other words, no matter how big Amazon got, it should always act like a hungry startup on its very first day. And slowly the tide began to turn. Customers loved the convenience. Amazon's selection grew, the website became more reliable, and the brand became trusted. While hundreds of dot-com companies collapsed, Amazon survived. And not only survived, it thrived. The real game changer came in the mid-2000s. In 2005, Amazon introduced Prime, a subscription service offering unlimited 2-day shipping. At first, people thought the idea was insane. How could a company make money shipping products so fast at such low cost? But Prime wasn't about short-term profit. It was about loyalty. Once people subscribed, they shopped more, bought more, and stayed with Amazon forever. And then came Amazon Web Services, AWS, an idea born out of Amazon's own need to manage its growing computing power. Jeff realized that if Amazon needed massive cloud infrastructure, so would other companies. So they built it and sold it. What started as a side project became the backbone of the internet. Today, AWS powers everything from Netflix to NASA. By the 2010s, Amazon wasn't just an online bookstore anymore. It was a global empire. From Alexa smart speakers to Kindle e-readers, from Whole Foods to drone deliveries, Bezos was building a company that touched nearly every part of modern life. And all of it came from that one decision in 1994 to risk everything on a crazy idea in a garage. Today, Jeff Bezos is one of the richest men in the world. Amazon is worth over $1 trillion, employs more than 1 million people worldwide, and has reshaped how humanity shops, reads, watches, and even works online. But here's the lesson. Bezos didn't start Amazon because he wanted to be rich. He started it because he saw an opportunity that no one else was brave enough to chase. He was willing to sacrifice comfort for vision, to risk security for possibility, to face failure head-on again and again until he broke through. So the next time you hesitate to chase your idea, remember this. Jeff Bezos had a safe job, a big salary, and a guaranteed future. He gave it all up to start selling books from a garage. If he hadn't taken that risk, there would be no Amazon, no Prime, no AWS, no empire. Success doesn't come from playing it safe. It comes from betting on yourself when no one else will. And maybe, just maybe, your crazy idea is the one that could change the world.